We're back with your hosts, Andrew Romanella.
I don't think I'm good enough in this spot based on my own personal mental health, so I can't continue. The first problem is with the owner of the Carolina Panthers, okay? You're an idiot. Seriously, you're an idiot. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back in to the Rome Show live in the morning here on 12OZSports.com. I am Andrew Romanella. I am back live and better than ever after a week off on spring break with the boys from the CU. But I couldn't be more excited to come back today, Monday, March 11th, 2024. I know it has been 5 days since I've lively talked to you, so I just want to start by reminding you the Rome Show, one, on Instagram and Twitter. That's how you're going to get in on the action. Or if you want to come at me on the personals, at Coach_Romo24, Instagram and Twitter. We're all over the social media and you can get in on the action. As you know, we put the question board up behind me and we love the answers to those questions. We had put this up the week prior to me leaving for our Virginia trip, and we never really got the chance to address it. So I spent the last week and change polling the population of people that I could speak to about what their favorite type of candy was. And it's not necessarily that one singular type of candy came out. For example, I am a Skittles guy, okay? If you gave me a pack of Skittles every day, right, I'm good. I don't need any other candy. I don't really need to go into the sweets any longer. I can eat the Skittles every day. Now, that's not to say that I don't crush literally every other candy out there, like peach rings and gummy worms, Starburst. I love Reese's, okay? So when it comes to Andrew Romanella, sometimes there is a different vibe when it comes to the candy cabinet, okay? I think my opinion in the conversation of candy kind of should be crumpled up and thrown away because I'm addicted. There's no other way around it, okay? I will probably have a piece of candy every single day. I think I am a 6-year-old at heart when it comes to a sugar rush. Like, it's like I'm struggling a little bit. Let me get some Skittles, you know? Come out after a bad game. I need some Starburst right now. You know, team's not playing well in the 4th inning. Let me grab a small pack of Skittles and throw them in my back pocket at third base. So for me, I'm going to go candy all day, every day, but on top of that, Skittles. But what I learned from the population is for the common folk, the not addicted to candy folk like myself, it's not necessarily a Skittles or Sour Patch Kids or Starburst or Lifesavers thing. It's almost like a sweet or chocolatey type thing. So a lot of responses that I started getting from people like, oh, yo, what's your favorite candy? It's like, oh, well, I'm not like a big candy person, but I love chocolate, or I love that. You know, or, you know, I like Reese's. I like Snickers. I'm not a huge sweets person, or I'm not a big chocolate person, but I love, you know, sour ropes with insane amount of sugar on them. So it's like the category is not necessarily candy. What's your favorite? The category is, are you more of a chocolate candy person, or are you more of a sweets candy person? Because that's essentially what I kept getting from the people. It's like, oh, I like chocolate. Or I like Starburst. Oh, I like chocolate. Or I like Sour Patch Kid watermelons, you know? So I'd love to know at Coach Romo, Coach_Romo24, or the Rome Show 1 on either. That's our question going on for this week. I need to know, give me your candy, give me why. Because I'm a big candy guy, and we need to know the type of people that are listening to this show and what they like the most. For now, we know that they like us going around the wide world and giving them an update on what's up in the sports world, so we're going to do that today. All right. So 6 players were ejected in the women's basketball Southeast Championship game last night. Okay. So that would be the SEC, the Southeast Conference Championship yesterday. Okay. Including the University of South Carolina's Camilla Cardoso. Okay. Camilla is the leading scorer for the Gamecocks as well as the leading rebounder for the Gamecocks. Now, University of South Carolina just completed its second straight undefeated regular season, which is wild in its own right because they lost all 5 starters on the court from the 2022-2023 season, moving now into the 2023-2024 season. So rather impressive for the University of South Carolina to go out and have a second straight undefeated regular season and have had to replace 5 of the top 10 probably players in the country because that's how their roster has been. So South Carolina finishing off a historic season, okay? They beat LSU 79-72 in the championship game, okay? But that doesn't come without a price because Camilla decided she wanted to defend one of her teammates who was getting into a little shoving match. The long and the short of it is fight for a loose ball. It looked like the South Carolina girl kind of threw an elbow towards the LSU girl. Not really, but kind of. Well, then on the walk between the two girls to get back, ladies, excuse me, to get back to their benches, the LSU girl high shoved. It was definitely not, it was a little vicious. It wasn't, I mean, we can't pretend like she didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like hands, extension a little bit, shoulders, definitely rough. Well, then Camilla, who's like 6'6", comes flying out of nowhere, knocks this girl on her behind from LSU, and then all hell breaks loose. And then the girl on LSU, I can't say her name, something Johnson, she gets knocked to the ground, and now her like brother comes onto the floor from the stands. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, first off, I am so sick and tired of the fake fighting in basketball across the board. Okay? So for me, the first part of this conversation is, can we please allow every sport to operate like hockey? Okay? Oh, the two of you have an issue? That's fine. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Blow the whistle. We got a fight going on over here. Let the two of them, duke it out until the referees think that it's kind of over, and then we move on. Because I am over. It's a twofold conversation. I'm over the fake aggressiveness. Okay, neither of you are gonna punch each other. Okay, you didn't. You would have if you could have. It's just a bunch of shoving, acting like you're being held back. Someone's holding you back, but you're not really being held back. It's stupid. And it's not just, it's in every sport right now that doesn't allow fighting, which makes sense. But basketball specifically bothers me so much because it's like, bro, it's you're on the floor, you're face to face, you don't have any equipment on. You really want to punch each other. I get why you wouldn't because it's against the game. You'd get thrown out. But my point is, this is why we need to allow it. I'm cool with it. Hockey, they get over their crap, a quick little fight, tap each other on the shin guards, we move on with life. It's phenomenal. And this is why I hate that other sports don't have that. Yeah, you might be calling for, that's a little reckless, Andrew. No, it's not. We have boxing's a professional sport. We cheer other people, knocking other people to essential death, essentially, right? Knocking them out cold. So we're cool with that, but we'll stop the line at, no, screw it. Because I'd rather watch that than watch the stupid crap that I witnessed yesterday in the SEC championship game. And then 6 girls get kicked out of the game. It's like LSU finishes with 5 players. South Carolina finishes with 7. These are supposed to be the two of the best 3 or 4 women's basketball teams in the country, right? And now Camilla Cardoso could be suspended for the first or second round of the NCAA tournament. Now, do I believe that should matter? No, because I don't think that University of South Carolina is going to entertain losing a game until the Final Four, because that's just the way it works, I think, sometimes with how good some of those teams are. But my point being, I'm tired of the fake toughness. I'm tired of the pushing and shoving and the quote-unquote fights, when in actuality, it's just a bunch of pushing and shoving, which happens all the time in sports. So now I just think that we should allow, let's take it to the next level. Okay, if you guys want to push and shove, we'll call it the hockey rule. You guys get to wrestle each other. In our program, we have something called, thank you to this is my college baseball coach gave us this idea. We called it the Spartan Circle in college. If he was tired of hearing two dudes chirp each other at the baseball field, then he would say, all right, let's stop real quick. Let's have the team make a circle, and the two players would wrestle each other until coach felt like it was over. No punches were allowed to be thrown, no hit below the belts. All that stuff wasn't allowed. But the amount of times I watched a Spartan Circle happen on my team that A, completely made the team better. B, we were really good. We won 35 plus games both my 2 years there and won a championship and went to a college regional. So clearly it proved to work. Two of the best teams in that school's history over that 2-year span. And I really do believe there was an aspect of the Spartan Circle that really made it better for our team. Like, we had an outlet to get the anger out, to get over the stupidity and move on. Now, I don't think that will ever come into basketball or soccer or baseball or any of these sports. I don't think it will ever come into play. But as a hockey guy at heart and watching that happen in hockey, I just think every sport needs it. Because would I rather in 3 minutes, two people push and shove each other, they drop the gloves, punch for about a minute, the referees break it up, and we move on? Or the stupidity of this girl pushed that girl, that dude pushed this dude, who's pretending to fight, who's falling over, who's coming off the bench. Now somebody's in the crowd. 17 to 20 minutes later, we finally resume the game. No. Just let the girl punch that other girl. They can fight each other for 30 seconds, put them on the bench or eject them for the rest of the game, and we move on with our lives. Done. So I'm over it. And now if South Carolina loses their best player for game number 1, imagine you get the female version of Purdue versus FDU last year because this girl decided after LSU already got the tech, after the momentum was already towards South Carolina during that play, you come running over to body some chick that's 1.5 feet smaller than you, and now you get ejected and then might be suspended for an NCAA tournament game. So now I'm actually praying and voting, I'm hoping for, whoever plays South Carolina at the beginning of the tournament, man, I'm hoping Cardoso's suspended, and I'm hoping that we get a 1 beats 16, a 16 beats 1 scenario, just because that I believe would be poetic justice for the stupidity that happened in that situation. We continue. Baker Mayfield has signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's right. Baker signed a 3-year, $100 million extension with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield is getting $50 million guaranteed on that deal. It's been an interesting road for Baker Mayfield since being released by the Browns in 2021. He played for the Panthers. What we thought was going to be the turnaround for him was not. Only played in a few games, threw for 1,300 yards, 6 TDs, 6 interceptions. After that, he then was released by the Panthers, or traded, I can't remember, in that same season in 2022. I think it was released, then picked up by the Rams, finished the season kind of strong, nothing spectacular, and then that led to him signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay did not know what they were going to do with their quarterback situation. In comes Baker Mayfield. Now, I think a lot of people have given Baker Mayfield a bad rap, but people forget that Baker Mayfield took the lowly Cleveland Browns to the playoffs for the first time in whatever that run was. Like, Baker was the guy that broke the Browns through. And in my opinion, to go to Cleveland, being a first overall draft pick, to go to Cleveland and in theory succeed, right? Like, the goal was draft this quarterback. He makes the Browns better. He takes the Browns to the postseason. Baker Mayfield did that. Brought them back to relevancy. The Browns are only the Browns today because Baker Mayfield did what he did during his 6-year tenure there, okay? During his time there, he never had more interceptions than touchdowns. Listen to the numbers. Rookie year, 27 TDs, 14 interceptions. Sophomore year, 22 TDs, 21 interceptions. Junior year, 26 TDs, 8 interceptions. Senior year at Brown, so his 4th year, it's kind of funny, 17 TDs, 13 interceptions. Always threw for over 3,000 yards, never threw for 4,000. So those were the areas where there's so much left to be desired. Is he really a quarterback that can take you to the postseason? What could he do for you? Blah, 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 blah. Well, then 21-22 happened, and here comes Baker Mayfield with Mike Evans in Tampa Bay, and what does he do? Throws for over 4,000 for the first time in his career, 28 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, a 95 passer rating. That is exactly what you are looking for if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it only helped when Mike Evans came out last week and said, I definitely want Baker Mayfield to come back. Here's what Baker said. Short and sweet. I wanted a chance to come back, Baker said. I love Coach Todd Bowles and the staff. I'm happy to be here, and I want to win more in the postseason. I agree. I thought they were a pretty good team last year. I thought they had a chance. They could improve. They could improve the whole entire team to get to the point of, hey, man, you should really be thinking about the Buccaneers next year if Baker can stay consistent as the quarterback. I think it's a great signing. And so many times, we've seen quarterbacks in their 6th, 7th, 8th year start to figure it out a little bit, start to become a quarterback that you can maybe build around a little bit. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's about to be Patrick Mahomes. I'm not at all. But Baker Mayfield, I don't think, is about to be Zach Wilson either. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a really good signing for the Buccaneers. If you can keep your number one wide receiver happy, who's got the most 100-yard seasons in a row in NFL history, then I think you should do that. It's a great day to talk about this because NFL free agency starts today at noon, which is what we will finish with on the back end of this show. But some teams that are going to need to look for some players, one of them being the Philadelphia Eagles, because two of arguably their most important players have now retired since the end of the 2024 season. At this point in time, for the most part, everybody should know that Jason Kelce has retired. But also on the defensive side, defensive line guy Fletcher Cox has decided to retire. So now you are losing in the exact same offseason on the offensive side, a future Hall of Famer at center, and on the defensive side, a future Hall of Famer at D-end, D-line, whatever you want to call him, linebacker sometimes. That is huge. And I thought about it last night as I was reading up on both these guys and what the Eagles are going to do at the free agency and trades and the draft next month and all this other stuff. And I realized to myself now, when the Eagles were 10-1 last year and they started to falter, everyone's like, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, this offense isn't as good as you thought. But if you really do break it down, think about it. You had two future Hall of Famers on both sides of the ball in the staple positions on the line retire in the same offseason. What does that tell you about the entire team? It was just tired. That makes sense now. Looking back, okay, they go on the losing streak. They barely win to finish the year. They get beat in the playoffs. You're like, what happened to this team that was in the Super Bowl last year? They got old. They got old. I would probably tell you that Fletcher and Jason Kelce probably around between game 10 and game 14 probably started to think about retirement. Now you factor all of that in. Yeah, it makes so much sense now why a team that we thought was all so good on the outside drastically dropped off so much last year. They got older. They got tired. It's a hard sport to play, especially into your 30s, you know? And if you do what Jason Kelce did, then it's even that much harder because of how much you played, which we will get to on the backside of the break here on the Rome Show, 12ozsports.com. Just a reminder, if you want to get on the action, get us on social media. Here's the deal. We got a commercial break, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about that free agency, and I got some daily data for you. Stay with us here on the Rome Show.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Rome Show here on 12OZSports.com. Broadcast live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I am your host, Andrew Romanello. We have about 10 minutes left here. If you have any thoughts, opinions, tell us your favorite candy, whatever the case is, at Coach_Romo24 on Instagram and Twitter, or at The Rome Show 1 on Instagram and Twitter. Okay, it is time for a little straight off the Rome piece. So it is a little wild right now in Quarterbacksville for everybody in the National Football League. More times than not, when it gets to the offseason in football, we're talking quarterbacks, right? Like, what team needs a quarterback? Where is each team at with their quarterback? What's this team going to do? Are they going to trade up? Are they going to trade back? Do they like their person? What's Justin Fields' deal? What's going on with Kirk Cousins? What about Baker Mayfield, Mac Jones? What about Russell Wilson, right? All of these things are the question every offseason. Well, now we are starting to get those answers at 12 o'clock today, a.k.a. noon. It's open. It's free agency. Well, that doesn't stop people in the National Football League. There's a legal tampering period, which essentially means you can talk to anybody that's not technically a free agent yet and start to get the ball rolling. Well, over the course of the last 24 hours, the ball has definitely started to roll. The ball is now rolled for Mac Jones all the way down to Florida. That's right. Mac Jones, former quarterback of the New England Patriots, has been traded or will be traded at the start of the league year this year at noon to the Jacksonville Jaguars. He will be competing with C.J. Beathard for their backup quarterback job. So how far Mac Jones has fallen since his rookie year 4 years ago, all the Pro Bowl season. So very, very interesting there. A 6th-round draft pick going back to the Patriots. And then it continues. Okay, we talked about Baker Mayfield already, but a lot of news dropped in the middle of the night last night about Russell Wilson. That is right. Russell Wilson is supposedly going to be signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers at the start of the new league year. Russell Wilson will be signing a 1-year deal, very minimum amount of money. But because the Broncos released him, Russell Wilson will be, I guess, on essentially a league minimum contract where the Broncos will still owe him $38 million. Ridiculous. So a lot to break down there to start. So Russell Wilson in the last few years, okay, on his stats, here we go. His last 2 years in Seattle, okay, 2020, 4,200 yards, 40 TDs, and 13 interceptions. Okay. Now, I don't care who's on your offense. I don't care who your running back is. I don't care how good your defense is. Those are good numbers. Those are really good numbers. So I could also understand why a team like the Broncos would think, oh, wow, Russell Wilson's a guy that we're going to want to go after. In 2021, his last official year in Seattle, it was 3,100 yards, 25 TDs, and 6 interceptions with a passer rating of 103.1. So again, maybe a slight drop-off, but still some really good numbers. So if you're the Broncos, you can understand. Then he gets Nathaniel Hackett in his first year as the head coach of the Broncos. And Nathaniel Hackett, as we have learned while he's the offensive coordinator of the Jets, is atrocious. He is. He's only made a name for himself in the National Football League because Aaron Rodgers was linked to him. Okay, so he gets Nathaniel Hackett, and by the way, doesn't have the most atrocious year you've ever seen, but it's not good. Okay, 3,500, 16 TDs, 11 interceptions. They go get Sean Payton. Sean Payton challenges Russell Wilson. It seems like things are working kind of to a degree. They start 1-5, go on a 5-game winning streak. They're competing for the postseason. All of a sudden, Russell Wilson gets benched. And you're like, okay, team started to play better. A little confused as to what's going on here, but hey, you know what? Sean Payton's a fiery cat. He just doesn't like him, maybe. Who knows? Russell finished the year with 3,100 yards, 26 TDs, and 8 interceptions. So one common thread there is he has never thrown for more than 13 interceptions in a season, right? Only 5 times in his 11-year career has Russell Wilson thrown more than 10 interceptions in a season. So it's not like we're looking at the worst quarterback in the history of the world here. Okay, guys won a Super Bowl, been in 2 of them. So there has to be something there that's good enough. Okay, so I like this move by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett wasn't the answer, okay? And Russell Wilson alongside Mike Tomlin, maybe that is a connection right there. And it's only a year, okay? And if the Steelers didn't feel good enough about every other quarterback option that they had out there, then Russell Wilson is the guy to go after, okay? And Justin Fields has been a name we've heard about. Will the Bears trade him? Will they not? I have no idea. But of the 2, I think the Steelers make the right decision there in going after Russell Wilson, which brings me to the next person, which is Justin Fields. Okay. Let's call a spade here, people. All right. Call a spade a spade. If the Chicago Bears wanted to retain Justin Fields, they would have retained him already. Okay, they would have come out and they would have said to everybody, we are keeping Justin Fields. He's our quarterback. We believe in him. It doesn't matter what draft pick we have. We want Justin Fields as our quarterback. They haven't said that. That has not come out of their mouths. So what that tells me going into the start of the new year at 12 o'clock today is Justin Fields is getting traded. Okay, now the question becomes when and where. All right. A lot of people have been speculating the Atlanta Falcons. All right. Kirk Cousins is letting the Minnesota Vikings know that he thinks he wants to test free agency. That could be somebody out there. Okay. But 2 drastically different quarterbacks. One run it and then gun it. One gun it and barely run it. Okay. So what do you want? And where are those 2 ending up? Because I think it's clear that Kirk Cousins isn't going back to Minnesota. Maybe it's not clear. It just feels that way. Again, if you have the chance to go back and it's the player option and you're not, kind of tells you where you want to be. And if you have the chance to retain or say you're going to retain and you don't, like the Bears, it tells you where you're going to be. So I think Chicago making a trade, and I think Kirk Cousins signing somewhere else. So a lot left. Who's the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons, right? Who's the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, right? Who's the quarterback of the Washington Commanders, right? Who's the quarterback of the Panthers? Is CJ Stroud, is Bryce Young good enough? So many questions. Do we believe in Trevor Lawrence? And I wanted to end on this free agency note with looking at some of the quarterbacks that were drafted in that same draft, right? You're looking at Trevor Lawrence, unknown. Zach Wilson, unknown, right? That was that draft class. And what it really just tells you is you can't really guarantee, you really don't know if you draft a quarterback in the first 10, 15, 20 picks, if that's actually going to be the guy. Mac Jones was also in that draft in 2021. Like, look at the quarterbacks, right? You don't know. Just because you're drafting somebody in the first round doesn't mean that they're going to be an elite level QB. And that also is the case on the flip side. Just because you're drafting this guy in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th round doesn't mean they're not going to be good. Obviously, easy example, Brock Purdy and Tom Brady, right? Those are the most known examples. But even the aforementioned Russell Wilson was a 4th-round draft pick. So very interesting, and I'm a big I don't want to just talk NFL all 12 months out of the year. But there are certain days when the NFL is going to be prominent, and that is today. Because it is free agency, and it is becoming the new year in the National Football League, which leaves you with some daily data. Oh, I want that louder for everybody. First set of the daily data is this. Jason Kelce is retiring after 13 seasons in the National Football League. Freaking awesome. 11 times Jason Kelce has been, 7 times Jason Kelce has been named a Pro Bowler, and 6 times an All-Pro. Jason Kelce finishes his career as a 1-time Super Bowl champion, but it gets better. Did you know that Jason Kelce has recovered 11 fumbles in his career? That is right. 13 seasons in the National Football League, 11 fumbles returned, but that's not all. Jason Kelce is Iron Man. That is exactly right. 11 times in Jason Kelce's 13-year career, he played every single game at the center position, including the last 9 straight seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles. So for the last 9 years, Jason Kelce's never missed a game. And for 11 of his 13 seasons in the National Football League, he never once missed a game. That's what I call Hall of Fame level stuff. You'll never, ever, ever see stuff like that again in any sport, where guys are just continuously showing up to where you'll look back over a decade and go, this guy hasn't missed a game. And I hope you don't miss the Rome Show every single day this week, Monday through Friday, 7 to 7:30 a.m. on 12ozsports.com. If you miss this part of the show, any part of the show, you want to hear the show again, or you want to share the show with a friend, then go ahead and visit the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, the Rome Show podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify. Go ahead and hit that old subscribe button, and you can watch it and listen all the time. And then answer our question on social media and visit thewideworldshop.com, because that's the sponsor of the podcast, and you can use promo code 12OZ Sports. All right. Rome Show, Andrew Romanella. We're out. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Thank you for listening.